Welcome back to Daily Thetha. And cryptocurrency. We started off the show with very, very confusing terminology. And but total, I'm sure, nice personally, body CTO, body hashing, body mining, because mine rich banrune, Kiako secunda, metal pack, mine wa gold, this one you can't touch.
I think that's a good thing about it, that we need to find out exactly and zoom into it and find out the terms.
Definitely. We are joined on the couch by Mpho Dagada, who is a cryptocurrency expert. It's not Thomas Makholaka. Then we're also joined by Carel de Jager, who is an owner of Blockchain Academy South Africa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Awesome stuff. I'm going to ask you guys a very huge favor, please. When you're explaining these terms, please can you maybe perhaps try to explain them in an analogy or story so we get a better understanding, because obviously we're not well versed with the terminology. But let's kick straight into it. Carl, can you perhaps maybe explain to us, I mean, Thabiso touched a little bit on how you can actually make money. Can you tell us how you make money? But most importantly, this mining thing that you guys all the time, we're hearing about mining, and that's probably the best way to make money. What is it?
Okay, so I can't really tell you how to make money because I've only lost money
with
this technology.
That's perfect.
So I am not a very good trader. I think Mpho will perhaps be able to better tell you how to make money, or Thabiso, because they've been successful in it. But I can tell you a lot about the technology and exactly what it is. So Bitcoin is a cryptographically secured digital currency. Okay, now that sounds quite technical. All right, so let's use an example to explain that. Let's say I want to buy something from you. I want to buy this couch because I think it's a nice couch.
No, you can't buy it, but it's fine.
Okay, something like this.
Yes. After the show. And we agree on a price. You say 1,000 Rand or whatever, and then I would transfer 1,000 Rand to you electronically. And when I transfer that 1,000 Rand to you, there's a bank involved because we do it electronically, and the bank actually keeps a ledger, and it deducts 1,000 Rand from my account and it adds it to your account. Now, so that's why the bank is quite important in this whole process, because they have to make sure that we don't cheat each other, that I don't transfer you less than 1,000 and make you think that it's 1,000, or that you don't take more than 1,000 from me and try to beat the system. Now, the bank knows our identities, it knows where we stay, so if the one tries to cheat the other, then the bank can intervene and correct the situation. With now Bitcoin, we can transact digitally but without a bank. So there's these miners and other nodes that keeps the ledger, so there's no third party keeping the ledger. The ledger is maintained on its own. It's impossible to cheat the ledger, and we can now send value across borders, or from one person to another person.
How dangerous is this if it's not regulated by...
And you said someone is keeping... Who's the someone that's keeping the ledger?
Okay, so important, Bitcoin or the blockchain is decentralized, which means there's no owner, there's no CEO, there's no call center.
Who's keeping the ledger, comrade? Who's keeping the ledger?
So there's thousands of computers all around the world that keeps the ledger, and they all agree on the correct version of the ledger through what we call consensus algorithm.
So can I keep a ledger?
You are welcome to keep a ledger yourself, and you can even try to change the ledger if you want to. But your copy of the ledger will just be rejected if you try to do that, because your copy will be different to all the other thousands of copies around the world. And that is the blockchain. Yes.
Okay.
I think it's something that we're understanding, but not understanding at the same time, because it's quite confusing. And let me come to you, Mpho. And I'm going to terminology enkulu esetshenziswayo la. Andile at the corner no Thabiso. Bavumeleni ukuthi yes, wonke umuntu engayenza imali, but wonke umuntu enga-understand on this cryptocurrency, or I need to have at least a trick to understand this.
So purely put, anyone can understand cryptocurrencies. I think the biggest problem is we're not understanding why it was created. Now, let's take an example, our neighboring country, Zimbabwe. What happened in Zimbabwe? The economy crashed. What caused the economy to crash? Let's take another example, the US in 2008 when the financial markets crashed. Everything went to a crash. What caused that? What were the problems with the financial system then? What were those problems? And how do we solve those problems looking into the future? Now, that's what cryptocurrency is all about. It's a solution to the problems that we have with the current system that we have to solve it for the future. Let me bring it back home. How many South Africans have seen a fake 200 Rand?
Most of us.
Every single time you go to a store, someone needs to lift it up and check.
Yeah.
How do you solve that problem?
Digital.
With cryptocurrencies, there are no fake bitcoins.
Okay.
So that's one problem solved. Let's take another example. Robert Mugabe decided he's printing more Zimbabwean dollars.
Yeah.
The value of the Zimbabwean dollar became worthless.
It crashed.
No one was keeping a record to say how many have actually been printed and why it's being done. Can you actually print more bitcoins? You can't. The code is secure. Can you corrupt bitcoins? You can't. The code is secure. Can you duplicate bitcoins? You can't. The code is secure. Can you print bitcoins? You can't. The code is secure. So when we look at cryptocurrencies, we look at what is the solution? What are the problems that we have right now,
Mpho,
and how do we fix them?
I need to come in there. Kini said, ask you a very important question. He says, if no metric, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now, everything that you've just explained now sounds very like economics. I needed to sit in an economics class for me to understand this, because the question that you've just asked, a lot of us can't answer. Or what made the Zimbabwean money crash?
Yeah, but exactly. The important thing here is not can you answer it or not.
Yeah.
The important thing is how do we solve it? How do we cause that woman who lost her pension because the Zimbabwean government decided to print out more money? How do we stop that from happening in the future?
But if I need
That's
to...
the solution we should be looking at.
Yeah.
The problem is big.
Okay.
The problem is difficult to understand. But let's look at a solution. Remember, society is a society where we're continually evolving.
But can you find a
and
solution to
fighting
something you don't understand?
I think the understanding of it comes by saying it's literally digital currency.
Okay. I get that, but let me ask as well, guys. Uguti, if you look at it, it's all good. It's promising. It's more of a solution than more than anything else. But what are the dangers? Because now I've seen so many people on social media advertising that they actually mine Bitcoin, and you ask, okay, and some people comes in and say this is a scam, this is not. What are the dangers of going for these cryptocurrencies without actually fully understanding it?
I like that question, and because of that, I've got a website, www.investinfuturecurrency, where we give you free information, online information, where you can go and enroll for a course and learn about these cryptocurrencies. And I've done that because so many people ask questions to say, what is this thing? How does it work? I've been to countries like Hong Kong. When you get to Hong Kong and you ask a 12-year-old, what is blockchain? They understand it. Why? It's a society of learning. Everybody's engaged and the world is moving forward. And in South Africa, we need to learn the same thing. If you go on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, I'm not posting pictures of myself doing whatever. I'm posting information to teach people about cryptocurrencies. To say, as Africa, it's time we learn. It's time we grow our knowledge. It's time we stand up and say, we're not waiting for America to help us on this thing. We understand what it is. And the future of it, our president spoke about an African trade union zone using cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
He suggested that. Our president, Cyril Ramaphosa, suggested that as one of the solutions.
But we know our president is a bit high-tech.
If I can also come in there and explain to you some of the risks. Look, there are many risks, volatility being one, and I think we spoke about it, and that's why I lost money is because of the volatility. So trying to make money is obviously risky. But another thing which I want to focus on quickly is if you buy Bitcoin, and you invested a lot of your money into it, let's say you invested all of your life savings into it, then you should store it safely as well.
Yes.
And one of the ways to store it is perhaps not to leave it on Luna or Altcoin Trader or on one of these exchanges, because if you leave it on there, you don't have the private key. Now, the private key is almost like a password in order to use that Bitcoin. So I brought something here today with me to explain to you that quickly. So this, it's almost like airtime, but this is a Bitcoin paper wallet.
Okay.
All right? And I can store Bitcoin on this piece of paper if I want to. I can take it from Luno and post it or send it to this paper wallet, and I can send it to this address
here. And I lose that piece of paper?
This I can then later use to take the Bitcoin off again in order to spend it.
What if you lose that piece of paper?
No, then you lose your Bitcoin.
Oh,
so you need to keep it safe.
No, my friend.
This side is the public key. It's like your bank account number, which you can send the Bitcoin. And this side is the private key, which is the password to that bank account number. Now, I'm showing this to the camera now. So there's actually some Bitcoin on here. So if you take a photo, if you're quick and you take a photo of your television, you can actually get this Bitcoin off from here if you're good.
Wow.
So I'm giving you permission to steal my Bitcoin, and but please buy me lunch with it. And let me just say this: if it's not taken by tomorrow evening, I'll post the photo of this wallet on Twitter, and then you can take it from there as well. And if you'd like to know more, we also present courses where we go into quite a lot of detail about what exactly is a private key and how do you develop one and all those kind of things. So it's quite interesting.
Okay, maybe about uhlelo. Let's find out from you. What is your take? It's 0113391.
Especially, we've already talked about the issue of it not being regulated. But perhaps I want to ask a question, and it's a twofold question. Number one, I need to understand why are they just men? Are women not into this cryptocurrency? What's happening? That's my first one. Number two, the question of there's this idea we must buy and hold if you're not trading, obviously, right, on a daily, day-to-day trading. So I am holding. Now, I remember a lot of people also holding Triple M. And Triple M was also a community of unregulated people, you know, giving money to each other. How do I know it's not going to become a bust? How do I know it's not a bubble, perhaps, Carl?
And I think you've answered your own question there, is why many women are not involved, is that it's sometimes more difficult for women to hold than for men.
Oh, get off my stage.
That's just a joke. That is just a joke. No, I would love to see more women involved, and you know, I think I don't know why. There's nothing preventing women from getting involved in it. Perhaps you know, they a lot more risk adverse than men. I don't know, but that'll be good. And you asked whether it's a bubble or not, whether Bitcoin is in a bubble. And well, you know, there's lots of ways to value Bitcoin, and one of it will be the real world problems that it solves, like the remittance market. The remittance market currently valued at around $600 billion in the world, and you know, if you divide $600 billion by 16.9 million Bitcoin that's currently in circulation, you get to a value of around $50,000 per Bitcoin, and that's only the one problem that it solves. Now, I'm not saying that that is the price that Bitcoin will be in the future, but I'm just saying that that is one way in order to value Bitcoin, and you can value it through the store of market, store of market like gold, and you can say, well, this is the amount of gold that's currently in circulation, divide that by the 21 million Bitcoin, and then get to a value for one single Bitcoin as well.
Cool. Arif, in closing, quick one.
So quick one. Let me go back to the comment that was made about the ease with which you could get your money back. Now, we've heard from other jurisdictions and other regulators that when the price drops, okay, and when you try to get your money out,